Hey guys, welcome to the Life on Purpose podcast. It's Ella and Ella from Grow with the Flow. Here we explore all things personal growth and self-discovery.
We hope to inspire you, empower you to explore your growth, and to remind you that you're never alone. So let's get right into it. Let's grow.
Hi guys.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Life on Purpose podcast. We're so happy to have you. And if you're new, thank you for choosing to listen to us. We are Ella and Ella from Grow with the Flow. And we're so excited to be here.
Yeah. So funny. Just before we started recording this, Ella's like, I'm going to record it on here. And we almost didn't record this episode. So yeah.
Oopsie.
Thanks for tuning back in if you've listened to the podcast up until this point. We would like to start today with a fun little activity that we've been doing when we have our meetups, and that is to shuffle through one of the many decks that we have here at the Grow with the Flow headquarters and set an intention for the day. So Ella, before we got started, was shuffling the deck. And usually we just shuffle until it feels good and we stop and pull a card. But two threw themselves out. So we're going to stay with that and we're going to read the intentions for you.
Yeah, this one's from an oracle deck called The Flower of Life. It's personally my favorite one. I'm obsessed with the Flower of Life. So mine says, we haven't looked at them yet. So.
Slowly flipping it over.
Mine says perfect. Right here, right now, you are perfect. You are love and oneness. The trick is to feel and know this. It is time to step onto the path of self-discovery, move into your center, and heal all you are aware of at this moment. I have goosebumps.
Oh.
Transforming these wounds into acceptance and peace. Then bring this love and acceptance to your outer world, no longer attached to the wounds that pushed your buttons, allowing you to be free of the pain. This is an ongoing unfolding of you. Each time you become aware of something that needs to heal, go back inside to your center. It becomes easier every time, and you may get to a place where you view this process as a way to love and accept something new about yourself.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that was...
Guys, that's like, I feel like it's too perfect that you might think this is all scripted. That's the card that fell out.
Cool.
How on point.
Yeah.
So my card is, you are eternal. When your stream of consciousness asked to be more, know more, to become more, you created your magnificent physical body to be an instrument of physical creation. You are part of the universe, and the universe is part of you. You are made of stars, planets, and all that is within and without the universe. The playing field is an unlimited and loving. You are a loving, unlimited, and wondrous part of creation. The events and experiences of your life will grow in meaning as your awareness expands. This expansion will alter your perception of the world. Embrace this clear, confident, inspiring outlook, and your experience of the world will change.
Oh my gosh.
I love these messages.
So yeah, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But if you needed to hear that message was for you. And
I feel like that message was for me. Oh my gosh. That was so good.
I know. And that segues into perfectly actually into our topic today. Are you lacking motivation or feeling stuck? It's a really common feeling that we all experience at some point in our lives. You may feel like you're going through the motions of daily life without any real sense of purpose or direction. It's important to remember that you have the power to change your situation and start living a more intentional life. Everybody knows what it feels like to feel unmotivated and to feel stuck and like you're in a rut or you're not feeling inspired and you just want to shut the curtains and just
go back to bed.
And that's totally normal. I think for me specifically, an example of that is literally what I just described, shutting the curtains and just being like, not today, not wanting to do the things that usually light me up, not wanting to do the things that I know serve me, like deliberately wanting to do things that I know might make me feel bad, like eating something that I know my stomach doesn't agree with, but I'm just like, I don't care, you know, like just naughty, like you just want to do something like naughty,
self-sabotaging yourself.
For me, that's when I know, like, okay, something's not right here. I'm feeling a bit stuck. I've lost a bit of inspiration. I need to change things up.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I'm able to recognize patterns. Like I definitely have patterns when I start to overload my plate. And that's never a good thing for me, but I still do it because I'm human. I'll start to resent the things I'm doing. Then that to me is a clear sign that I need to address like why, my bigger vision, my goals, all these little things in between, even things that I naturally would gravitate towards feel like a chore. And that to me is a clear indication of I'm lacking my motivation. I'm just going through the motions.
Right. Yeah. And actually a good thing to reference if you don't know what human design is, we talk about it all the time on the podcast, but and you can just Google yours for free, what your human design is, but it gives you something called your not self theme. So you have your self theme, what you feel like when you're thriving and you're in alignment, and what your not self theme is. And mine is bitter. And that is so true. I'll start to be like, just anybody, I'll just be like, that person has wronged me. just feel
bitter.
Just bitter about everything. Like, and then I just know to like, whoa, hold the brakes. First of all, obviously on a conscious, like logical level, I know no one's responsible for like my happiness or joy. So I'm just like, that person can do whatever they want. And then I need to like reel it in and be like, why do I feel like that?
That's a great opportunity for us to segue into maybe reasons that you're feeling unmotivated. So obviously this is different for each person. These are 5 that we've come up with together that kind of overlap between the two of us. And I touched on this earlier with my example, but a big one for me at least is I'll feel unmotivated because I'm lacking clarity in my life, and clarity in the sense of what my goals are. And I know that sounds so vague, but if I don't have a clear understanding of what my next goal is, or even an overarching goal in like this season of my life, I lack motivation. So that's a big one for me. And it's a big one that we talk about here quite a bit. We're very big believers on having a clear vision. Everything else kind of falls underneath that. So if you lack a vision for yourself, you don't know how to get to where you're going because you don't know where you're going.
Yeah. And then what's the point?
Like, kinda. Yeah. It sounds so daunting, but it's like, that's the biggest thing. And that's one that really resonates strong with me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. I totally agree. It's like, I always say, if you don't have a map or a destination, there's some places where you'll drive by and be like, that was pretty cool. But most of the time you're like, where the heck am I?
Why did I do that?
Yeah. That takes us to the next one. You're unaware of your energy leaks. So that is like, you've just kind of stopped being intentional with your actions or what you're doing or what you're surrounding yourself with. And you've realized that you're kind of put yourself in a situation where your energy is leaking without you even being aware of it. So where are those kind of like gaps? Like, is it you're surrounding yourself with maybe some people that aren't resonating with you, or complaining a lot, or doing things that are like making you feel depleted? Or are you putting too much on your plate, like Ella said before, or any of those things? We talk about energy leaks all the time. So you've probably heard some of our examples before, but that's such a big one, is being super aware of all of your inputs, whether that's social media, what you're watching, what you're eating even. Like, are you eating something that's hurting your stomach and you just feel like crap?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had this conversation the other day because Elle and I, like, obviously, I would hope at this point we're pretty self-aware and we're always learning and we're always growing, but we had this conversation that at a certain point in the day, we both just started to lose energy, like lose steam. And we reassess what we had done that morning or what we had eaten. And we're like, oh, yeah, there it is. So just being being aware of these things for you. It's going to be different for everybody. But like Ella said, it can be as simple or as overlooked as something that you eat every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, something you've even overlooked. And some stuff you know and you're just like putting off.
Still doing it to yourself. We also talked about this morning too. Like, gosh, honestly, some of the conversations we have, I had mentioned to Ella that we obviously, I don't know if this is a disclaimer or not, we love coffee. Like, you probably know this about us by now. But we'll say, like, why did I have that second coffee? Or why did I have that third cup? Like, why did I do that to myself? Just being aware of these things. This is exactly what our point number 3 is just lacking self-awareness. And the intention goes hand in hand with that. So if you're not aware of something, the chances are the intention doesn't exist because you're just doing it. Whereas when a perfect example is you're aware that, having that third coffee is going to send you on like a vicious spiral of anxious feelings. So now your intention is to maybe remove cup 2 and 3 and switch to a herbal tea. And the intention there is to relieve yourself of unnecessary anxious feelings. There you go. There's an example right there for you. So some level of self-awareness. We're never going to be at a state where we're just like so floating on a cloud. Everything is perfect. We know everything. But being intentional and taking the time to learn these things about yourself. Reflecting on them. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes forcing yourself to set an intention for everything you do makes you kind of look in the mirror. So if you're like, I'm having this third coffee because I'm tired, then it forces you to be like, well, why am I so tired? Everyone else can function without, not everyone else, but like there's people in the world that can function without 3 coffees. Maybe they're having a full night's sleep. Maybe they're,
the bigger picture.
Yeah. It just makes you kind of like look in the mirror as well. It takes us to our 4th and my favorite one. Maybe you're lacking some joy in your life. So, life isn't all about pushing the needle forward. That's very, very important. We should all have goals. We should all have some thing that we want to improve. We all want to be better, right? That's obvious. But sometimes you just gotta have some fun. Are you just spending your day looking after kids, doing laundry all day, washing dishes, and being like, every day is like Groundhog Day? Or are you managing people all day and then it's just, you're just going through the motions like I'm just picturing a hamster on a hamster wheel. Like, just thinking of those little things that bring you joy. Everything you do doesn't have to be for a greater purpose or to be this big life-changing thing. It's the smallest thing. Like, do you want to just sit on your chair and read your book that you love? Can you like put something on the TV that makes you laugh? Do you love like, I don't know, jumping off of a bridge into water? Does that make you feel excited? Do it. Like, just do something that brings you joy and that will spark so much motivation and inspiration back into your life.
And I think the important thing, one of the biggest things that hit home when you were talking about finding joy and experiencing more joy in your life is it doesn't have to be penciled in. Not everything needs to have, we obviously talk about purpose and intention, but obviously the intention here is to bring you joy. It doesn't have to advance you in the workplace. It doesn't have to have any greater purpose than to bring you happiness. So don't overthink this point. This is the intention, is just to bring you happiness. Like Ella said, if it's putting on a TV show that's going to make you laugh, do it.
Yeah.
If you don't have the time to do this grand weekend away, if you have 5 minutes
to
just have a good time,
make a cup of
guilt-free too.
Tea.
Like, just guilt-free. Don't feel like you should be spending your time any other way. Spending time doing things that bring you joy for the sake of them bringing you joy is so invaluable. It's so, so, so important.
I agree.
So our last point and our 5th reason that you may be feeling unmotivated is that you might be lacking support. So whether that is in your household, in your friendship group, in your community, and it's not to say that these people aren't supportive, but maybe there's an interest or a hobby that you have that you don't have this similar interest with the people that are currently in your life. So of course, naturally, it's going to be hard to explore that further when you're the only person on this talk. It'd be like if Ella and I were just having these conversations by ourselves at home, which I mean, we do separately all the time, but it's way more exciting. And I feel like it's much easier to keep that inspiration and that motivation lit and going when you've got community support, whatever that means for you. Whether that's, listening to a podcast like this, if you're out there and you feel like, oh my gosh, I just get it. I feel like everything they're saying, I'm right there with you. If that means a physical group or club of people that are into the same thing you are, that's amazing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no worse feeling than like going to somebody with something you're excited about and then being like,
I don't get it.
Yeah. There's so many resources out there online, Instagram accounts. I don't know, just things where you're like, I like this thing, but nobody I know likes it.
And it's not their job to like it, right? Like that's the thing too, is I'm sure you've gone through this. I know we've gone through this, is you try to get people that you love on the same train as you. And it's just like a dead end. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. You're like, it's so great, isn't it? And they're like,
it's like,
I'm not there with you.
It's like when you're trying to show somebody like something funny, but you're looking at their face.
Oh my gosh. And they're not laughing. That is probably the most heartbreaking experience for me.
And you're like laughing and looking at
them.
Like, oh,
Can you understand me, please? So yes, we think support is key.
Yeah.
In motivation. But it's going to look differently for everybody. It's just a matter of finding the type of support that works best for you. If you're somebody that doesn't, really enjoys being alone, or being around a lot of people might be overwhelming for you, maybe it's an online space. Mm-hmm. So really just looking at support in terms of how it can best support you.
Yeah, totally. And if any of these felt kind of like resonant with you, and you're thinking, well, how can I change? It can be so simple, one small step. You don't have to be like, now I have to change my whole life. The first thing is just to simply reflect. Just take some time to reflect now that you've heard all the reasons you could be feeling unmotivated. Were any of these true? Did you feel like there were any specific examples in your life that you were like, yeah, that this is happening, or
that stood out to you?
That stood out to you. It's just taking out a piece of paper and a pencil and just writing out how you're feeling, what your days look like, what your life looks like, what your goals have been, if you have had any, like, or maybe write down a goal, or just anything that will help you just reflect on some of the things that we've spoken about here.
Yeah, I think reflection is so important and so overlooked, because it sounds so simple, right? Like piece of paper and a pen and I reflect. Mm-hmm. But have you done that? How many of us actually do that? We've probably been told to do it a handful of times, but there's so much power in actually doing it. And like Ella said, whether it's making note of what your day-to-day looked like on the day where you felt really unmotivated versus a day that you're feeling a bit more motivated. What's the crossover here? What are the things that change the day around? How can you incorporate more of that? Reflection is so key. And however you can reflect, whether that be journaling or maybe talking it out, works best for you. I know for somebody like myself, I like to talk through things. Even if I think I know the answer, or if I have an idea in my head, talking it through with somebody that I love and somebody that I respect and that I care about makes me feel so much better. It's the same, getting to the same result. It's just the way I'm projecting it will be different than somebody else. So whatever reflection means to you, do it right now.
It'll make things more clear.
Yes.
Bring that clarity we always talk about.
Yeah. So naturally, our next point or our next tip to integrate this is to commit. Don't just listen to this episode and think, yeah, I agree with this, or I don't agree with this, or this sounds like me. Commit to making some sort of shift. Commit to, maybe your commitment now is to understand yourself better, or maybe not to be so hard on yourself. If there's a way that you've been and you're thinking, this is just wrong, and this is not the way I should be operating, I need to operate a different way. Maybe the approach that will work for you is just reflecting and looking at what is working right now and what isn't. It doesn't have to be this big change, but if you can, if you could leave this with anything and some small takeaway is to make some sort of commitment to yourself.
Yeah. Even a commitment to that one step. Like if you're like, I can't remember the last time I had a belly laugh. Commit to
seeking a belly laugh.
Yeah. I know maybe you'll listen to this episode and be like, I get it now. Maybe this would really help. But then you go back to like your regular, the way you do things. Just commit to that one small thing that you know would make that change. Because somewhere that deep inside, I think everybody knows.
Of course. The sense of knowing exists within all of us. It's just we forget sometimes, or we don't have the reminder, and we're here to remind you. We're going to do that part for you, but we can't commit for you. It has to be your move.
And the last thing that we want to leave you with is just to embrace the journey. It doesn't have to be this big, huge to-do list that you have to change everything about your life and about yourself, this big mountain that you have to climb. Just embrace the journey. You can make the biggest shifts with the smallest changes, and just doing it with a sense of happiness and joy around it. Like, it doesn't have to be so scary or big. Like, of course, there's times in your self-discovery journey where it won't be easy, but embrace it. Just know that it's getting you to the other side of a life of more fulfillment, a life of more purpose.
And I think that's it, guys.
Yeah, that's it.
We hope that these episodes bring you even just the slightest little aha moment, or if you've heard something and it was exactly what you needed to hear today, we love that.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this. Let us know. Message us. Send us a DM over on Instagram. If you aren't following us yet, we're at GWTF.club. We love to hear from you guys.
Thank you guys so much again for listening and tuning in. We make new episodes every Wednesday. If there's any topics that you guys want us to cover, please don't hesitate to let us know. Our email and our Instagram is down in the show notes. And we love you and can't wait to talk to you again.
Yeah. Bye, guys.